An emergency meeting just took place with 5 big CEOs. We're going to talk about that meeting and how they're absolutely scared of this Trump administration, and they should be. And actually, it benefits us. We're also going to talk about how our food system is broke, but now we're starting to see just how important this Trump administration can be. From RFK to Thomas Massey to another advisor that they just put on. Someone I personally have met and spent time with several times. This could impact our food system to a plus and make us healthy again. That might be why this emergency meeting is happening that we just spoke about too. Also, we're going to discuss the states that did actually go for Kamala. They all have one thing in common. And I think we need to talk about that. Because I think what actually happened, the landslide got even deeper and bigger. We'll discuss how Trump is actually winning already and how this could be the start of something very, very good. And we're also going to talk about how 2 or 3 of the people that were going after Trump are still going to go after Trump, and actually it could be to their detriment. And then we're going to talk about what the DOJ just did. All this today, a lot of stories, a lot of things are taking place, but most of them could actually benefit us as citizens. Trump is already doing great things even before, really, he's even in as president. Let's talk about these things today. This video starts right now. Hey guys, welcome to The Max. Thank you so very much for being here today. If you are new to the channel, get on here, press subscribe, ring the bell. Give us a thumbs up or a thumbs down, that's okay, but let us know what you think about today's content. Now, we picked a winner for last month. I actually did not hear from them. They did not reach out to us and email us. So we're actually going to do 2 giveaways this month, the one from October and of course the one for November. So all it takes is you subscribing to the channels and making sure you give us a thumbs up. Tell us that you're subscribed, but also tell us what you think about these videos. So we'll be giving away 2 big prizes at the end of this month. Now let's talk about today's video because it's the most important. First, let's jump into the Secretary of Agriculture. There's already been some talk that RFK Trump has looked at Thomas Massey as a potential pick or potential person to lead this. And it's actually pretty well known already. Now, Thomas Massey, if you don't know, is a straight libertarian. The man lives on a farm that he has pretty much built and engineered himself. He raised a lot of his own food, but also he has built a solar generator that runs his whole home. He is a brilliant mind, MIT graduate, but also someone who believes that America should be first. And he also believes that he doesn't want to involve himself across the world. Now, why is it important that he's over things like agriculture? Well, he also believes in raw milk. He also believes in beef. He believes in how things have naturally grown for all the time that we've had here on this earth. Now, one of the advisors that he's putting on is Joel Salatin. Now, if you are in the regenerative, sustainable ag, if you're a homesteader like myself, Joel Salatin is one of the pioneers of this movement. He's wrote several books. Actually, he has a book, one of my favorite books he's ever wrote, and I challenge you to read it. Even if you're not a farmer, it's a great book. It's called Everything I Want to Do is Illegal. Now, the point of the book is he talks about how the USDA, FDA, the government has put so much regulation that the kind of food that we've grown for years and years and years that's taking care of humanity is now considered bad. And he's trying to bring it back. So this is a monster move of deregulation and how we can see maybe Department of Agriculture, Department of Commerce, Department of taking care of your food. The fact that we need food and not broken and not medicated and not sprayed, this could be huge. If you haven't read about Joel Salatin or Thomas Massey, you need to. These are, again, in people like my spaces, as a conservative libertarian, as someone who raises his own food, who milks his own cows every morning, this is a game changer. This could also help because it's going to reverberate to making food better quality. You know, when you go to the grocery store and all that stuff looks like it's so edible right there in the front and the vegetation and they look so perfect, a lot of the reason that it's so perfect is because they've put so much stuff on it, so much chemicals on it, that it's actually not even good for you anymore. You know, milk, they've done so much to it. You know, okay, for instance, I milk cows every morning. That milk is completely raw and we drink it every day. Been doing that for years upon years upon years. My children only know that. Guess what? that milk is only good for 5 to 7 days and tastes really good. Now, it doesn't go bad and spoil like you would think of milk. It just doesn't taste good. It tastes like the animals. I mean, it kind of gets bad. If I can have milk that comes out of the cow 5 to 7 days and by then it's pretty much needing to be used, how can you have milk that lasts for months in a refrigerator at your local grocery store? There's a problem there. And these may be the absolute 2 best men to fix that problem. Huge. Now that brings me to the second point of this emergency meeting. What emergency meeting has just transpired that should send shockwaves across American business and America period? Because guess what? People are realizing that Trump is not going to play games. And not only that, RFK is not going to play games. Well, RFK is pretty much going to be the one that helps with HHS and all this part of Department of Agriculture and trying to clean up some of these agencies to be healthy again. So here's this meeting. It says, sources tell me, and this is from a guy named Jamal Holly. It says, sources tell me that 5 CEOs of pharmaceutical companies are holding an emergency teleconference at 1 p.m. The lawyer has confirmed that everyone in this state, everyone in this space is at a state of panic. You remember they talked about taking some of this advertising off the TV. Also, do you realize that the biggest provider of legacy media and the biggest donor for legacy media and commercials is pharmaceuticals? If we're going to make America healthy again, why don't we start with our diets and start making food healthy again and not just giving a medication to solve the problem? Think about it. How many doctors have you went to that instead of giving you medicine, they told you this is what you need to do. You need to exercise. You need to clean up your diet. You need to eat better. You need to do this, 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 this. Look at some herbal options. Look at holistic options. How many doctors have you went to that said that? No, most of them want to shade the problem with more medication. Well, guess what? The pharmaceutical companies are starting to panic because now you're starting to see what truth is again, to say, you know what, instead of covering up a problem, let's fix it from the root. Why is the biggest company that provides the spray for pesticides and herbicides on crops also the biggest provider of, one of the biggest providers of medicine to fix the problem of the herbicides? Read about that. Read about herbicides in Bayer. It's crazy. So I love to see the fact that these big companies, these big CEOs, these big pharmaceutical companies, instead of being grateful like they would be with Kamala, that they're actually in a little state of panic. Now, is pharmaceuticals bad? No. And actually, there's a shortage. I tell you all the time, make sure you have emergency antibiotics. There's things that medicine has done that's brought life to a lot of people. But also, there are some major problems with it because instead of it being a last resort, kind of like we always talk with government needs to be our last resort. We need to solve the problems on our own first. And if we can't, then government steps in. Medicine the same way. We need to learn to holistically change our diets. We need to learn to be healthy. We need to learn to do things and let medicine be the last resort, not the first option. And so therefore, this is a good thing. I love to see what's actually happening. The fact that we're maybe cleaning up our water, getting the fluoride out of it. We may be cleaning up our diets. We may be fixing the FDA and USDA. You know, we have a broken food system, and this could be the start to making it better and us all as a whole healthier again. You know the lawfare that's been pushed against Trump? Well, a few things have happened just yesterday. AG of New York, of course, she's going to keep on coming after Trump. She says it's still her vendetta, basically, to come after him. Now, is Letitia going to do that? I don't know. The bottom line is she's going to keep on trying. But what I thought was hilarious, that the DOJ absolutely hates Trump, and they've went after him. But guess what? When he won presidency, they just got rid of Jack Smith, and they've told him to close all the investigations. Now, here's the thing. What did that mean? That meant they didn't really have a case against him. They really didn't, because they would have kept it going, or they would have solved it before this. It was all interference. So do we honestly believe this DOJ was honest? And that do we believe that they were in the right, in the middle of the road trying to what's good is good, what's right is right, what's wrong is wrong, what's unlawful is unlawful? No, what it is they were trying to run interference to mess up this campaign. Here's the thing. You know the bureaucracy that we talk about? If Trump hires a new AG, which I think should be someone like a Kash Patel, a Stephen Miller, someone like that that's just a bulldog and that's ready to fight, one guy at the top is not going to solve the problems, I think, all the way throughout the agency. There needs to be massive firings at DOJ. They have way too much power and too many teams of lawyers. And this is where Trump could really fix it, because this shows they're firing Jack Smith and getting rid of all the investigations before Trump goes in. Now, before they were gung-ho at getting him and taking him and putting him in all this kind of court and lawfare, to realize now, no, it's over. Let's just drop it. Do you honestly believe that is a true thing that they were trying to do, or were they trying to just tie Trump up? You're starting to see this. Now, again, this shows the incompetence of some people. Letitia James still has a job, and Fannie Willis, who got made a fool basically in Atlanta with all this case with Trump, got reelected after all the corruption she got involved in trying to get Trump. This is why Trump has got to be careful of who he puts in power. Great start with RFK, with Thomas Massey, with Joel Salatin. Phenomenal start. But he needs to be very careful of who he associates with and all these people around him, because these people are dangerous. These establishment people, the bureaucracy. He's got to keep people like Vivek close, RFK close, all these people who are willing to break the system down, Elon close, because they are not dependent on the government. They are looking to help fix the government. That is what's huge. So it's a good step in the right direction, getting rid of Jack Smith, cleaning up the DOJ. But you have to be careful, because there's still people like Letitia James and Fannie Willis who still have jobs for some odd reason after they went after him for lawfare. I think of Giuliani. I mean, they've taken everything he is. They've taken his license, all because of his association. So this is where Trump needs to, again, build a legacy, build a unity, but do it with people who respect you and like you and want to see America thrive. Lastly, let's talk about the states broken down. Now, Trump ended up winning all the rest of the swing states. So Trump actually was like 312, I think, is what he actually finished up with, which is what we talked about projecting just a few days ago. I want you to listen to this. It says Kamala won every single state that does not require voter ID. She didn't win a single state that required voter ID. Now, you can fact check me, but this is from a source that was doing the numbers. If someone had strict policy and strict voting laws, Trump won those states. For the states that had a very lackadaisical, lazy, unpatriotic, meaning un-American way of not having voter ID, that's the state she won. Now you can say, well, that just means they're just more liberal states. Okay. Why do we give countenance that that's okay? Now, I do believe that states should have power to do what they want to do. I believe states actually should have more power than the federal government when it comes to the will of the people. However, when we're electing the president of the United States, I believe that we should all have one style of voting, because this deals with the election of the national side. Now, if you want to elect your state representation, your counties and all that, and do it frivolously, and you choose to live in that state, and that state chooses to do that, that is that state. But when it comes to the national election, why not say, okay, we have a universal way of doing this, because this deals with a national election. So let's all do single day voting, and let's do it all paper ballot, or whatever it may be, voter ID. I mean, why would we not want voter ID? It's funny because California allowed you to, it made it illegal for someone to ask for your ID. So you could just go in there and say, I'm Tom, I'm Harry, I'm John, and how would they know? You'd sign the dotted line and go vote. Isn't it kind of coincidental that the liberal, the Democrat, only won the states that did not have voter ID? I just think that's a little odd, a little strange. You wonder why Democrats push against it? It's because they may be running in the gray area and not running completely in the up and up. It's not about ethics at this point, it's about the legality of it. Wouldn't you think that every place in America would want voter ID? You can't go and buy a cigarette or alcohol without ID. You can't go get a fishing or hunting license without an ID. You can't go and start energy or buy a cell phone without ID. So if those same people in those states use an ID to drink, to smoke, to basically get medical care, because if you go in a hospital, they want your ID, get your VA benefits, get your licensures, your insurances, your hunting license, your fishing license. If you have to have an ID for all that, and they're operating in those states, why would you not want a voter ID? It's common sense, people. And I think that's what this election's shown, is that people said, I'm tired of this unbelievable nonsense it's time for common sense again. And if you don't believe that, he won the popular vote, and again, a landslide electoral college victory, 312. That is huge, especially for a Republican. So I think we need to look deeper into this, and Trump's already said that he's looking for voter ID. I think this is really big. We're already seeing the market react to Trump in a positive way. We're already seeing companies get scared, these big liberal companies, these big pharmaceutical companies getting scared of what he's willing to do. I mean, RFK made an announcement that he's wanting to not only overhaul FDA, he wants to almost get rid of it. When you start hearing that, the bad players, the people, the bureaucracy, the people who want to see global movements and subpar America, they're getting scared. And that's what I personally like. America has a chance here. Now, I'm not giving too much credit to this system because it's not even started yet. We have a lot of people to depend on. But if we can get some backbone in some of these Senate and some of these congressmen, and also making sure that Trump keeps the right people around him, we could actually change America. The Department of Agriculture and FDA and these moves with RFK is a great, great start. I'd love to see this all the way throughout. There's actually already European Union states wondering about the tariffs, and they're shaking in their boots because they realize how crappy their economies are, and they say if Trump puts tariffs on them, it's going to sink them and put them in direct recession. That's a good negotiation point, isn't it, for Trump? That's when he can say, you know what, I won't put tariffs, but this is what you're going to do. You're going to buy from American manufacturers. See, that's the point of the art of the deal in negotiation. Do we want to bankrupt Germany? Does Trump want to bankrupt Germany? No, but he wants to make sure that he negotiates to a point where you say, you know what, okay, if you don't want to pay tariffs, this is the negotiation. You're going to buy $200 or $300 million worth of steel from American companies. You're going to buy our fuel. You're going to buy goods from us. You're going to buy our vehicles. And guess what? That's going to put Americans back to work. See, we have to think that we're not playing checkers anymore. We're playing a top-level chess. And when you have people like Trump and Vivek and RFK and Elon help run this area, these are not politicians. These are not people that's made money off of you, the taxpayer. These are people that's made businesses and innovated and been entrepreneurs. We're playing a totally different level, and I'm glad to see it. Guys, thank you so much for watching today. Let me know your thoughts on these things. Thomas Massey and Joel Salatin, that made my day. I was able to spend some time with Joel at an event that we did. Actually, we went to his farm and spent some time with him there. He showed us around and how he did some things. And I tell you what, this guy's brilliant. He's so smart that you're almost like, what? But that's the kind of people you need in leadership. Thomas Massey, again, huge Thomas Massey fan. And I love to see what he's doing and what he's going to do, maybe as Department of Agriculture or in some kind of capacity dealing with a broken food system. We have to heal our land, and this is one way. Now, spiritually, we need to heal our land. We need revival. It says if it wasn't for evangelicals, Trump would have struggled because they came out in record numbers. Now, some people didn't, but this is when we need to come in and say, you know what? We need spiritual healing. We need physical healing. We need mental healing. And you know what? God may use Trump to do that, and I'm glad to be along for the ride. This could be history in the making. Don't put your head in the sand, though, because there's a lot of hard roads I think we have to face in America. Guys, thank you so much for watching. God bless.